I came here as a 24-year-old medical student and never felt so connected to my brother who was here so many years prior and my dad who was almost 80.
Starting here at camp as a senior camper, was just an incredible opportunity to dive right in and be embraced by people younger, older, people that I could look up to, and ultimately people that I could mentor.
We were together about 2 weeks, but everybody knows in camp time, that's about 2 years. So I owe Camp Seneca Lake quite a bit of gratitude. Or if it wasn't for camp, I wouldn't have these two awesome kids in front of me.
The friends and the people we met at camp were not necessarily the people you went to school with every day in this city, but you made friends here, and they became our friends for life.
Way on the other side of the Hudson, deep in the bosom of suburbia, I met a young girl, she sang mighty fine, tears on my pillow and Ave Maria, standing by the waterfall.
I am the chairperson of the board of directors at the Jewish Community Center, and Camp Seneca Lake is probably one of the premier programs of the Jewish Community Center.
The camp draws kids from Western New York, not just from Rochester, and second generation from other cities.
Camp for kids is a great equalizer. It doesn't matter what you are at home, what you're like, what group you belong to. When you come to camp, you're part of a village, you're part of a bunk, you're part of the greater camp. It embraces difference. Kids that are different at home are accepted at camp.
Great improvements have been done at camp. The Seneca Village was built. The addition to the dining hall, the infirmary was built. Some of the changes are physical. The tone of camp, the Jewish activity at camp that's increased from when I was a camper, I think is a great additive.
CSL, I have to tell you, was the beginning of my tremendous Jewish connection. I learned what Judaism is. I learned about Shabbat. I learned the Hebrew songs. I could sing every one of them to you today. I still have the song sheets from camp.
While I'm sure a lot has changed since my dad was here as director in 1979 or my brother was here as a staff member, I think the most important things are the things that do not change, and that's the connections to community and the pride that you have in being here and the spirit of the air and just the sounds of the gravel under your feet bring back such comforting memories to me of, my first few days here and running around and learning the land and making friends.
The biggest thing that probably differentiates us from any other camp is the idea that we care so much here, and we're not about making a profit. We're not about being a business more so than just being the best camp we can be, because we want this place to carry on throughout the rest of your life.
One of the most important traditions at camp revolves around spirit, and you hear it more than you see it, because the volume of cheering and singing in the dining hall and hopping up on the seats and dancing in place during the meals is really special.
But I think for most of us, camp is a really special and positive community in our lives. And I think we all have a responsibility to not assume that camp will just continue because we did our time there and loved it, but that we all have parts in our lives currently that we can contribute back to camp.
There are a lot of ways to stay engaged once you have finished being a camper or working at camp, your time at camp. I've always viewed it as one big experience that has ultimate continuity. So for me, I initially was the child of someone that had come to camp. There were a period of years where I was an active participant at Camp Seneca Lake, and now I'm an alumni.
Our parents were so adamant about giving back to the community, both financially in the ways that you could and also with your time and the way you volunteered. Something that my dad really imparted in us was don't just give financially, but give with your professional abilities.
Just not been a better gift that we have felt in our household as good about as the ones that we give to Camp Seneca Lake, because it's such an important part of our lives, and we feel so good about knowing what's happening at camp today and our ability to help, perpetuate Camp Seneca Lake, the program, the physical grounds, going into the future. So there's so many different ways you can continue to participate even though you're no longer an active camper or counselor.
And it's my pleasure that, to be able to give back with our time. My highlight of the summer is I get to ride with the Tusk kids every year for the last, I think this will be the 6th or 7th year. We ride 100 miles around the camp. I get to be a camper all over again.
Effectively creating a multi-generational community, that people all have some sort of connection and roots to this physical place, but it goes well beyond that. I think that the idea that you're spending your time and your money in other ways to kind of keep this journey going, keep the long line connection between the people who are here for the last 70, 80 years and their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren.